Welcome to the Vision Profiles podcast. Join us, dedicated Apple Vision Pro users, as we dive into everything from hardware and software to apps and the latest updates in the world of Apple Vision Pro. I'm Marty, a faculty member at a Midwest university, a podcaster, and an Apple product fan.
And I'm Eric Bolden. I work in IT, but my interest is in finding interesting ways to share content. Currently, photography of plants, birds, mosquitoes, and panoramic sequences.
And I am Dave Ginsburg. I'm the host of the In Touch with iOS podcast. I am passionate about technology, especially Apple, and use it as a real-world experience as a 27-year IT professional and iPhone subject matter expert. I learn new things about the Vision Pro every day, and I got a new persona.
Good.
Nice.
You know, Eric and I've been sending Eric little drops because he usually has on his shows, he has these marvelous nature pictures that he does. Incredible nature pictures. And my son asked me, hey, Dad, have you got a camera? I bought a camera about 3 or 4 years ago and went out a couple of times, shot with it, and it was somewhere in the basement. I couldn't find it, and then my wife found it. And it's a damn good camera, wouldn't you say, Eric?
Yeah.
I just need to know how to use it. I got everything charged up for it today, and so maybe someday I'll get out. And I told Eric the only nature around my house are dust bunnies.
And I said they're fast. Yeah. They're hard to get.
So yeah. Anyways, that's new. Have you guys tried or looked at Apple Care One?
I mean, we talked about it obviously last week on In Touch with iOS, but I've looked at it pretty closely, read through some of the documentation. I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence a little bit with it. The fact that you're paying that $19.99 a month. Yeah, you get 3 devices, but then going through all the hassle of switching over. I know I saw some comments in like the 9 to 5 Mac story we used, saying that I'm always been used to buying the 2-year plan, and I just don't want to have a subscription. So the whole thing about subscription fatigue.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, if you kind of do a calculation, you're getting 3 devices right off the bat for $20 a month, and I think that does include a Vision Pro.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, which is amazing by itself. But my only concern is I wasn't sure. Do you get refunds from the current plan you have now, or whether was left of it?
Yep.
Yeah. Do you? You do. Okay.
Did you do
that? And then
did you do anything, Eric?
Not yet. Only because I'm trying to decide which 3 or 4 or 5 devices I want, and because if I want to send a device to somebody else, I want it to keep its Apple Care because I won't be able to add it into my plan if it's a different Apple ID. So I'm kind of juggling around which things, but ultimately I think I will definitely go for the plan.
Yeah, the sense I got, because I played with it one day, all day, and I wound up getting $423 in a refund from the contracts. I went from paying what would be $80 a month when I added up all the things that I had on Apple Care down to $53 a month. So right there, I saved, $30-$40 a month doing that. And of course, they're refunding the unpaid portion that I already prepaid on some of this stuff. But I had dropped into my account $423 worth of credit. And I'm going to say this softly because I hope my wife doesn't hear it in the next room. Maybe I should make sure the door is airtight closed. But my son, Will, which you both met, is starting a new job. He has an M1 MacBook Pro. He's planning on using that as his traveling computer back and forth to work. And he's also doing the podcast with me, Gear Up and Go. And he was using that to kind of do the podcast. So I looked at it and I said, here's $423. The kid's got a wedding coming up. He's going to have to get a new car because his car is not going to make it 30 miles a day back and forth. It's going to go soon. So I'm like, I'll just buy him an M4 Mac Mini. The trouble I went, I know, I wish I was my dad. He had a great dad, but so I went ahead and did that. I went through 3 people online to figure out that refund was on my Gmail account address and not on my Apple ID address. And it took me a good 2 hours, and I was super frustrated with it. Usually I just piss those things away in movies. I just kind of, okay, I'll get that movie. And then eventually after, a month after Christmas, it's all down to zero. So it was a bit of a hassle yesterday to get that for him, but I made out on Apple Care One and I'm really happy with it. I also noticed the ability to you get all of when you go in to look at your devices, you get all of them listed under Apple Care One. And you can click on those and you can take those out, you can take those in. So it's easy to kind of, if you want to transfer that device to someone else and get off the bundle of Apple Care One, you can do that way. So I think it makes a lot of sense, particularly for Vision Pro users. And I think it makes a lot of sense for Apple because it reduces the craziness that they have to go through when somebody goes, oh, I just got a new device. I've got 2 years contract. Can I transfer this 2 years contract over to the all of that was done, with an Apple Assistant, I'm sure was labor intensive in doing it. So yeah, it's not available in Canada, as Colin points out, and it's not available in the UK yet. And we'll see what happens if it rolls out in other countries. Yeah. But that was my experience with it. Yeah. I mean, take a serious look at it.
Yeah, I think I'm going to. I just was reluctant. I found out about it last week while I was on vacation, so I wasn't going to start messing around with it when I wasn't at home. Yeah. So I may look closely on it. And plus, what about your family members? Can you get it for them as well? Or
the thing is, you can't. And I've had mixed reports on that. Allison asked me about it in her chat, and because somebody said they could, and I'm like, no, the only devices that show up are the ones that are registered to me.
Right.
But that's okay. I mean, my wife has a watch, an iPad, and a phone, and they're covered through Apple Care Plus. I should go in and see if adding that together is better at $20 a month than it is what I'm currently paying.
Just set it up on her account.
Yeah. Set it up on her account. So I don't know, but no, I can't. You can't bundle family members from what I saw. And then you make the decision whether or not, okay, for a Mac Mini, it's $399 a month. It's better for me to keep it on Apple Care Plus than it is for me to move it on to the Apple Care One. The issue with that you have to be very careful about, because I don't remember what I paid for or what I'm paying for for certain devices with Apple Care Plus. So I Googled it. I also ran it through ChatGPT, and they had some inaccuracies in there. So for example, a iPad Pro M4, you're paying a lot more for in terms of Apple Care than you're paying for an iPad Air, for example. Right. So you got to look at the price differentials on that. And you got to be clear on that, because sometimes they'll just send back, all iPads are $599. That's not the case. So pay real good attention to that when you try to look at the price differences. Okay. The day after we did our last full broadcast last Monday, they came out with Developer Beta 4. And one of the things that I kind of pride myself in is you look at the articles, they're like, well, there's improvements, but we don't know what they are. So I do some magic with searching and compare the previous developer information from Beta 3 to Beta 4 and ask AI to kind of spit out what are the basics, what are the big differences. So I did that, and I think I mentioned it on your show, Dave, on Thursday. Some of those differences. And basically for Vision Pro users, you're going to see smoother system performance, refined visual transitions, and then persistent layouts, which we've already talked about on this show. The idea that you can put not just the widgets now, but you can also put apps up and they will stay in the room that you leave them in. And when you shut it off and come back in, those apps will be up and open. And then there's when you gaze at certain things, your eyes are working on the foveation, the center point, and that makes it, there's going to be a better feedback with that process. It's more interactive with it. For developers, persistence API, when we talked about that, once you place it, it's there always. It lets developers anchor apps like windows and widgets to real world situations. The other thing, it's a very simple piece of code. It's a one-line code called lock anchor. And you put that one code into whatever you're developing, and it will allow it to be locked. It makes the object persistent, and it brings spatial computer closer to feeling like a real desktop or a workbench. Also, compositor updates, visuals that adapt. And we kind of mentioned that in terms of hover effects with eye tracking, dynamic render quality. Developers can adjust the rendering sharpness and smoothness in real time, better eye tracking or foveation. Those are the kind of things that are the big spots for developers. So under the hood, there's a lot of great stuff happening for developers. And from a user standpoint, just some differences. But no Jupyter yet, right, Eric?
No, not yet. Got to leave some surprises.
Yeah, the big, and that's the mistake that I think we all make, but many people like. So like, hey, wait a minute, they said this was all going to be in the next edition. Doesn't mean it's coming out with it rolls out after every beta. It's just not there yet.
Yeah.
Dave, have you done anything with it or seen anything with it?
Yeah, I mean, as I said at the beginning, the persona actually, you had to reset it up when we installed Developer Beta 4. And I actually felt it was a little better or smoother experience. They have the same cheesy video they've had since the beginning, but so you could skip that quick because I've already been through it so many times. But I felt that the process, I don't know about you, Eric, but either of you,
it seemed more forgiving.
Yeah. Because it's like, I'm going crazy. I'm moving it around. My God, I'm putting it where you want me to put it. Well, canceled. I'm like, okay, let me do it again. But then I thought that the persona looks better too, because I felt it even more improved the way it looked from beta 3 to beta 4.
Yes, they definitely put some added extra in that.
I'm going to have to put it on an Amazon box, the right size Amazon box. So I'm going to have to order more stuff from Amazon to get the right size box to put it on my desk. So I have the lighting that I have here, because I can't hold it out in front of me for it to capture it appropriately. I have to kind of put it on a box, and then I have to move my head around to do it. And the bad part about it is that device shouts at you. It's really loud. And the times that I've had an opportunity to set up my new personas is always in the evening when my wife's in the room next to me asleep, and she is like pissed. Turn that thing off. And I'm like, I can't, it's going to be like this so I have to wait to do my persona. I skipped ahead without doing the new persona, and I will do that sometime during the day, maybe when she's out of the house having coffee with friends. But it's always a challenge. The personas, even though it might be more reflective and more responsive. So yeah, but go ahead, Eric.
No, I was going to say, one thing I did notice is earlier versions of this, you had to get all the positioning right. And if you're really nearsighted, it's hard to see the hints on the screen because it's too far away.
Yeah.
This one, you just kind of had to get close-ish. And then it would say, tilt your head forward or tilt your head back to get you lined up. So it helped you with audio hints, even if you couldn't see the screen. And I really appreciated that. That made a huge difference in trying to get it set up.
Now, am I going to have to take my D-brand Swiss cheese cover off in order to set it up?
Shouldn't.
Okay.
Nope, it worked just fine.
All right.
Oh, yeah. And I will add what I did because of what happened last time. I started the update and I left it on my head the whole time and just sat and watched and watched and watched. And then when the update started, I said, I ain't taking this thing off again. I'll maybe pop it off and pop back down for a time.
Yeah.
And I made sure it got to the final. Then it says when it tells you to take it off and put it down, I watched that screen and watched the barcode cross and got the Apple logo. And yes, it worked.
I've got to laugh, Dave, because that's the same thing every time I take it off. It interrupts the process. And so it's the shift it up on your forehead, put your glasses on so you can do things in your world for a while until it happens.
Yeah. No, I actually did. When it said it's time to take it off and it'll start the update, I did that. But then I just watched the, because I watched the screen with all the what was going on. The bar is progressing. I'm like, yay. I don't want to go back there and do it again.
Yeah, my battery ran out one time when I was doing an update. That's the worst.
Oh.
Yeah.
I had it plugged in the whole time.
Okay, so let's talk about, we've got a bunch of like single article things to talk about here, and I tried to come up with a logical order for them, and I couldn't come up with one, so here you go. We're going to talk about some patents that Apple has filed, and basically some of them relate to the whole ecosystem and some of them relate to Vision Pro. These first two actually relate to Vision Pro, where there is a figurative trademark that they're trying to do, basically the icon or the emblem for Apple Vision Pro Demo Fit app. So the idea that there is going to be an app, or at least it's going to be a separate entity that's going to have its own trademarked icon that will be for setting up your Apple Vision Pro. And then I thought this was really interesting. Two figurative trademarks covering the Vision Pro. And they had the Apple Vision, which was a smaller version of what was the outline of a ski mask. That's the only thing the way I can describe it. And to think that Apple is trademarking the outline of a ski mask is interesting. And then the larger version, which is the Apple Vision Pro. Now, does this hint at the fact that we're going to get someday we're going to get an Apple Vision, or they're thinking ahead that we're going to get an Apple Vision? And then finally, they did things like trademarking macOS Tahoe, and then the Apple trademark for Energy Kit, and then some Apple trademarks for the figures of the Apple Invites app that they have going. So, and then they had a hint at, lastly, Apple was granted another 31 additional design patents in Munich, Germany. All 31 have not been given the authority by Apple to reveal the designs and description as noted by the first in the group application in part. Basically, it's all the design patents for Apple iPhone 17 or 17 Air. All these things are being kept under close. So any thoughts about this, guy? The icons look cool. Yeah.
I like the icons. Is that one, the first picture was of a Vision Pro, and it's got the Apple Vision Pro saying on it. Is that just someone just generating that, or was that trademark? I couldn't figure that out.
You mean the one for the Vision Pro Demo Fit?
Well, no, the one that's got the picture of the actual Vision Pro itself, the first picture above.
I think they just they just generated that.
Maybe Apple just created that.
Or Apple patently Apple created.
I kind of like that, actually. I might use that for some of the stuff I put on show notes.
Okay.
But anyway, but I'm not surprised that this is especially the Demo Fit and the Demo Fit app. I mean, that's their trademark.
Yep.
That's what they go through when you can use that app and be able to do a good demo of getting a good fit with it. So I think that's great, and as well as the fit results on the iPhone, the app itself and what it does, and trademarking that. But I think you're right though with the Vision, the Apple Vision, that does give kind of a sense of is something coming out sometime
soon?
Or
are we just covering our bases before? Maybe not soon, but let's do it now so nobody doesn't mess with it down the road.
But that's kind of great to see, because there are going to be people out there who don't want to spend the money on a Pro. I mean, it's just like somebody buying an iPhone 16 Pro or any iPhone Pro, as well as a Mac or as an iPad Pro. Well, I'd rather get an iPad Air. So you see the brand. We got some symmetry here with the branding here, going across all the product lines. Yeah, even the AirPods Pro, and they're not. So, like we've been reading about when it comes to the Apple Vision, at least it's there now. Where it goes, and it's like I could probably predict another year, maybe two, before they're ready.
Yep, that's Ming-Chi Ginsburg making a prediction.
That's a prediction. And it's not duly noted. Just a prediction.
I'm saying hello to Steve
I'm not getting weird stuff from someplace. I'm just thought.
Yeah, you're using your brain instead of data.
Exactly. All right.
Steve Sims has joined us in the chat room. Hi, Steve. And Brian has joined us, and it says, all these things about trademarks makes me want to review various other trademarks that they've filed in the past years to see how many have really come to fruition. So is it just kind of let's lock this thing down and then maybe never use it? He's got some curiosity about that.
Brian, you can spend hours on patentlyapple.com and you will find many things that are on there. That some did come to fruition, but many did not.
Another article on gaming. And unfortunately, Daniel couldn't join us and is not going to be able to join us for a couple of weeks, but I kind of put it up in his direction because he is the gaming person here. But it's an interesting article to read, even for not gamers. This is why Apple's Vision Pro could redefine game mechanics on iOS. And this is by Vocal Media. And it's an interesting article, and I was able to get through it with some understanding. But it spoke about the differences in spatial layering that you can do with the Vision Pro that you can't do with other environments. Even the idea that you can put your game in the middle of your living room and your living room is still there. So the idea of pass-through being an important part of what's available in Vision Pro. And I think, because I own a Meta 2 and I own a Meta 3, I think the Meta 2 didn't have pass-through at that point. Meta 3 did. And the Meta E or 3E does have pass-through. So the idea that it's moving in that direction, and give some examples of good Vision Pro apps like Superfruit Ninja and Job Simulator if you want to get an idea of how those are ported over and what they look like and how they're a completely different kind of reimagining of the app with that. It's just, if you are a gamer, then it's a good, and you don't have to be too deep into it to understand the differences. They talk a lot about Unity and how Unity has done some things to allow for the games to be ported over better and to be developed better in Vision Pro in the future. I think we covered that article a couple of weeks ago about Unity. So interesting article. I don't know if you have any comments or insights, guys.
It was just interesting. Their comment on how you don't need extra controllers that have a bunch of buttons that you have to figure out.
Yeah.
It's just your hands and looking at something and then reaching out and like pinching or moving or whatever. So it's gestures and techniques that you've been practicing for decades, but now it interacts, with an additional environment. And we kind of saw that when we were doing demos, and people were able to jump in and do a whole lot more than I ever thought or expected them to be able to without tons and tons of explanation.
Yeah, they also talk in the article about the fact that Apple's opening up to PSVR 2 controllers.
Yep.
And so that gives people some options with it. I'm going to go on to the next one, which I thought I found was a pretty cool article. If you like streaming, and if you have a Vision Pro, even if you don't have a Vision Pro, you might want to take a look at this article in terms of top streaming apps optimized for VisionOS. Elevate your Apple Vision Pro experience. This comes out of applemagazine.com. Came out yesterday. And it talks at the top, Disney Plus is an important, because it has lots of 3D content. Max, in terms of having kind of quality content, there are some things they're doing with 3D offerings, but it's limited. So some interesting things coming out of Max, Pluto TV. Dave, now you really know the streaming services from what I recall.
I did a presentation on it.
Yeah, right.
Talk a while ago. Yeah, Pluto TV is because it's exploded. I mean, there are just so many people that are watching it these days because it's free. It's ad supported, and it's got just some pretty awesome content. A lot of older shows that are out there, and and Pluto TV is good, is really good. That's out there. Plex, believe it or not, they have some good services too that you don't have to pay for. They have a lot of streaming as well. But Pluto TV, by all accounts, is the one that gives the best when it comes to giving you what you want as far as a lot of this content. There's so many others out there that you don't even know about, are so obscure. But you got the paid services like YouTube TV and Fubo and I explore that a lot, only on the sports side of things too. I'm tempted to get NFL Sunday ticket this year because it's really a good price, honestly. So if I sign up by the 31st, it's going to be like $244, which normally like $450. So almost close to half of the price. And plus, I really like the Red Zone channel too. That's included because I was paying. NFL Plus had their own premium service that I would subscribe. They had a better price the last couple of years. I think I was paying like $79 for it, which was like nothing, and included the Red Zone. And I'm just giving you comparisons of other services besides just movies and such. But then of course they now raised that up to $99, and I look at it, it's like, well, I'll get more and be able to watch all the games at once if I want to. So I'm tempted, but you're right. Disney Plus is huge right now. HBO Max, another one that's been great. Amazon Prime is hot still. Amazon did the good thing about merging that freebie service that they had that they bought. That app is gone now, and they moved all the content over to Amazon Prime, so you can still watch the free stuff and not necessarily have a Prime account. But because they've got a lot of original content. They're doing a lot of different original content. Judge Judy Shallon's got into with them completely. I mean, she's got another new show now. I mean, she's just and people just watch that. They eat that stuff up because it's all reality kind of staged TV. But having that kind of original content with it is great too. I mean, you can go crazy. I mean, even there's an app called News On that shows all the local news in a lot of places around the country or the world, depending. Most of it's U.S., but like if I want to find out what's going on in Hawaii, there's channels that you can watch that they open up the content to that, and you're seeing it with every local channel out there with their news offering it. So streaming is going crazy. I can go on and on about that stuff. But the fact of the matter is on the Vision Pro, you're getting some great content, and it's really getting better because some of the apps are not so great to watch the content. Others have been really improved. So
this talks about Pluto TV having a Vision OS app.
It does.
So oh man. Well, that's something I got to take a look at.
Yeah, I've had it for a while. In fact, I did use it as one of the demos during my Max account when I did the demo of Vision Pro, being able to show it on screen. And Pluto TV was my demo, so it was Mission Impossible that was on. I remember. But there's just Pluto TV is owned by a couple different networks. Will be interesting to see where it goes because it's got a big ownership with Paramount and with the whole craziness that's going on with Paramount right now. Yeah. So we'll see if something happens to it. Hard to say, but no, I love it, and at least these streaming services are recognizing it. I mean, it's so important to see where this is at. And this is a great article. You seem to always to find these. I got to look at this magazine more often because there is some great content we find. I tell you.
Yeah. And this, and Fast Company also has some great tech-based articles too.
They do.
They do talk about in this article, the best thing to do is make sure that you have a stable Wi-Fi connection, high bandwidth, and especially for 3D or 4K content, and use the cinema environment in Apple TV for a theater-like setup. And so those are some great suggestions. But this article from Apple Magazine does a nice job of breaking down some of the best services for Vision Pro. Did you guys take a look at this? The best Apple Vision Pro alternative you can actually afford. I watched this video. They have a YouTube video on it, and this is coming out of, I'm going to say Allure, but that's not the way it's OLIUR.com. Olior? Something, yes. Just say it really fast with an accent and people will think you know what you're talking about. Yeah. But it is actually a compelling video that shows the device, and the guy talks about the different things it can do, multiple screens. And I thought of you, Eric, immediately because from a work environment. And currently there is the guy kept saying things and I kept going back to how much does it cost? So I kept paging down the article to find out the cost of this thing. And there is one version of it out right now called the Luma Pro, and it's $499. There is expected for power users, designed for intense daily use and business power users, the best of the best, the Luma Ultra, which will be $599 instead of $499. And the Luma Essential is affordable, no front camera or RGB, just powerful USB-C simplicity. That's for $399. The Ultra and the Essential are not out yet. The guy says they're going to roll out in the next couple of months.
It's got some good compatibility too. Geez, both Android and iOS, and you can do Switch and Switch 2, and then Mac and Windows.
Yeah, you're basically attaching a connection to the ear part of the frame that rolls over the frame, a magnetic connector that then goes to USB-C that goes into whatever device you want to do. There was a lot of time spent talking about Switch 2, and they have like a port device that you can purchase that will allow you to plug anything into it, and it has a it has a HDMI port on it, so you can plug anything with an HDMI into it, and it supposedly will work through these glasses. They're a little thick. By that I mean front to back from lens when you look at them. But he was kind of saying if you're going on an airplane, if you're going on a trip and traveling, and it's a 1000 nit, so it's really bright. It's 1980 by 16 something, so it's not quite 4K. But he said that trying to look at the pixels, it depends sort of on what you're looking at to see if you can see down to the pixel level with it, with your visual acuity.
So how did it handle corrective lenses?
He didn't say much about that other than that there are dials. There are dials at the top of each lens that will adjust for, I think myopic kind of distance.
Oh,
so
okay, might be worth checking.
Yeah, I'm not in the time of my life right now where there are some products I bought I regret. This would be a product I would, if I had any fluid income, I might take a shot at.
Yeah, I looked at
monitors.
Yeah, it's definitely compelling, but they've got, it looks like only the Pro version is available within 2 weeks, but then they got the other models, the Extreme, and then the Essential. Essential one's not going to be ready for a while. That's the cheapest one, but
yeah.
Yeah, honestly, also owning Vision Pros, I think I'm pretty satisfied with that right now. I agree with you. It's just a little frivolous spending. It'd be fun to if you had that income to do it, but not when we've already invested in Vision Pro.
Yeah, I've got to say though, this is the first one that, and you've seen some of these come up. We've talked about them coming from China, and the one that right now Pico is doing with, or thinking of doing with TikTok. And there's nothing about those devices that are compelling in terms of what they can do that I've seen so far, particularly for this price point. This is a little bit more compelling for me at the price point. So who knows? It's going to be an expensive year if a new Vision Pro comes out and if other new devices come out by the end of the year. And so we'll just have to see. But this is not on not on the top of my list. But if I wasn't thinking about what might be coming around the bend, it could very well be at the top of my list.
Yeah, might be a while.
Yeah, a couple articles I put in there for Eric, so I hope you can interpret these for us about the Blackmagic Ursa Sin immersive test footage.
Yeah, we're starting to see more of this coming out. And
Yeah,
I
there's
have to admit, after the first couple, I kind of stopped looking because I really don't want to get to a point where I really want this camera. I want a different camera that's not quite this expensive. But it is nice that they're starting to get some examples out, and there's been a bunch of additional training sessions on how to set everything up, and software and how to make it work. So what it does mean is about a year from now, we should see a whole lot more examples of immersive films and immersive shorts coming out for the Vision Pro that are really well done.
yeah. So yeah, it's kind of fun that they're teasing these things. Would like to see some final product that comes out of it. So FX Guide is one of the articles that will be in the show notes. And also
Yep.
this one comes from digitalproduction.com, basically covering a lot of they use the same pictures. So covering a lot of the same issues with them. And actually, we're moving through pretty quick, which is okay. We've been rolling for about 45 minutes, 40 minutes now. This one I posted, it comes out of the augmented reality Reddit link. And this was we built a hyper realistic digital twin of a CMP, a mechanical planarizer on the Apple
That was
Vision
really,
Pro.
really, really cool. Well,
Okay, Eric.
that video.
Yeah, okay, Eric, you're up. Tell us why it's really, really cool.
Well, I mean, it's basically a simulation of working with the device. So you got the safety gear. So the first thing you do is you put on the clothing that's supposed to go, and then it goes through, punching the buttons to get the tanks all ready, and then kind of it really it's a simplistic simulation, but basically the first overview of here's what this equipment looks like. There's a safety component. There's like first steps before you start, and then basic integration or interactions of how do you get the thing started, and when is it safe to open the doors or not open the doors, and what things you might want to do with that. So it's a nice example that where you could get a chance to look and get a feel for it without actually getting anywhere near the actual equipment that's probably really expensive. So, simulations like this, high power electrical, airplanes, this kind of equipment, other lab equipment, radioactive equipment. I'd like to see a whole lot more of these done in immersive Vision Pro, kind of get a whole interview and familiarity without having to go traipse through an actual real lab to see it.
So
Make that
when I think of
too.
this, I think of Job Simulator, which is a game.
Yeah.
But this is based on Job Simulator has you do things like fax machines and stuff like that. But this is based
Yeah.
on more technical equipment that you would want safety and practice standards that people would have to learn and integrate with, which is pretty cool. And we've got a few of these in the show yet to talk about that are really focused on how this is being used more from an enterprise or from an educational or training standpoint. And it seems like these kinds of articles are popping up every week now. Whereas when this thing first came out, it was, oh, this is really cool. And then you wouldn't see anything like this for a couple of months. And now it's like every week someone's posting. Particularly, we're seeing a lot of this come up on Reddit, which is cool. And when we can trace it down, track it down, we track it down. Yeah, I'm going to go to this next article, and it comes from Medium, and it is how Apple Vision Pro can give your business an unfair advantage. And it's a good overview of Vision Pro. ways that you can do video conferencing and text chats, gesture recognition, multiple window mold, music education and streaming platforms, video surveillance systems, and then an overview of educational systems like virtual whiteboards, interactive learning materials, virtual field trips, and interactive tests. Interesting enough, tech-savvy professor, last episode we talked about using AR and VR, and we talked about virtual field trips and different kinds of things that you can do with AR and VR. Telemedicine services and internet TV. Just a bunch of possibilities in this article with enterprise. Dave, do you have any other comments on that?
Yeah, I'm just trying to understand, why is it unfair? I guess they're saying things like experimental differentiation, early mover positioning. Like I said, exploiting novelty and capabilities now lets companies get to set user expectations for spatial in the future in the sector. I just think everybody's all in with AI. Everybody's going to be even more all in with AR. So why can't they have good advantage with this?
Yeah, I think it's a poor choice of words for the title. It's sort of like, if you're doing this, you have an unfair advantage over other people.
Yeah.
When it really is just an advantage. Yeah.
You also go look at the ROI on it too. What's the return on investment for the Vision Pro? You know, it's a big chunk of money for a company to invest in, especially to be doing these kinds of things. If you're doing a lot of R&D, you're doing a lot of engineering. Scientists will probably be they're going to start looking closer to this, but it's going to take time to get that into those places because they're so used to doing things in one way and not doing it for others. You know, if you're looking on the engineering side of things, you know, testing how to prevent fires or to put fires out, explosions, any kind of risk that you're dealing with. That's part of what my company does. You know, that's being looked at for the future in that space. And same thing with medical. I mean, is there any advantage with that in medical? Oh, gosh, no. I mean, we had a number of articles we've talked about when it comes to surgery, helping helping doctors be even more accurate and working with the things in surgery and to assess things. So all this can do is go up, and everybody can sit and bellyache about the price of this product, but you know what? It's going to pay itself off.
It only takes one mistake to cover the cost of a Vision Pro with a more immersive experience where somebody can where somebody can look and see a bunch of different boxes and see what the difference is and items contained within the box and concentrations and that kind of thing. Or even just something like rolling out new warehousing methods where it's going to take 6 months to a year to roll it out across the whole organization, but you can do it in one organization, and then you can send the information out to everybody else to slowly experience it before their warehouse gets converted. It still is faster.
Yeah, I think it's really, to me, it's amazing that people are starting to incorporate this tool into the world of business and productivity and, enterprise in that way. I realize I'm looking at the show notes and I'm confused myself and probably have confused you a little bit, but I'm jumping around from what's in the show notes, and I have some duplicates in the show notes, so that has got to be fixed. But something I talked about on Pro Notes was this simple article about how to shut down and restart the Apple Vision Pro. And this was put together by iGeek's blog and has the different ways in which you can shut down and power down and restart your Apple Vision Pro if you need to do that. And, so they have this nice chart right at the top that it says, here's all the things that you can do. But it goes further than that. It doesn't mess around. It has a section for each one of the methods with diagrams showing you how to go ahead and do it if you want to do it. So it's a pretty good, nice little short article. It's a good reminder if you've been using a Vision Pro for a while. It's a good reminder to read through and go, yeah, I can do it that way. In fact, I did the S-Lady version today, and it did shut it down, but my battery was still connected. So I don't know what that means. So I disconnected the battery like I usually do with it. So a couple more quickies. I did not get into this, but maybe either of you did. This comes from xrom.in. Mushroom Garden is an immersive edutainment experience for children on the Apple Vision Pro. Immersive play.
I wanted to see this. Yeah, I wanted to see this one, but I didn't have enough chance. So I will play with it when we get done.
Okay. I will go ahead and put the link under the apps because this is an article about it, but there is also a link in here that will open it in the App Store. So, yeah, it's telling me.
That link is bad.
Well, it takes me to, no, it does. It does take me to it. When you first click on it, it tells you it's taking you out of LinkedIn because apparently this article was in a LinkedIn environment.
Oh, right. You got to click it again.
And then you click on that link and it takes you to the Apple Vision version of it. So EduTurf Mushroom Garden. I spent some of my college years in the mushroom garden, but that's another story. This one I just pulled up right before show, so I apologize. I was really trying to get it to try and find the app that does this, or if there was an app that came out of it. But it is a article about ECT's physical presence pet redefines VR companionship. And it's a team from Carnegie Mellon, which is in my area, that tries to create a VR companion for you, launching it through Vision Pro. But I searched and searched and searched, and it's an interesting article in and of itself. It talks about the challenges of trying to create VR companions. And then it's, this problem, the MetaQuest controller wouldn't track properly. That challenge sparked an unexpected pivot to a new technology, the Apple Vision Pro. And they talked about Vision Pro's eye tracking and gesture. That's important. But I searched the App Store. They have this picture that shows physical presence pet, and then it shows it kind of on top of a Vision Pro headset. And I'm like, do they have an app for this? And I could not find the app. That's a game poster, but I could not find it in the App Store, much as I searched. If you're lonely and you need to call on someone, just put your Vision Pro headset on. Okay, that I think is all I've got for articles. Did I miss something, or did you guys throw some surprises in for me?
Nope.
Okay. All right, this is the coolest thing I've seen in a couple of weeks. And this is an app, and I first found an article on it. So there's an article on it about Sail GP launches its first ever XR experience in sailing. Racescape XR for Apple Vision Pro. And you can see some of this maybe in the images on the link to the website, but it basically sets up a series of screens in front of you. You pick what race you want to look at from this last year, and it will set up a series of screens and also put what they call like a tabletop. So you can see the boats moving in the video that they shot of it and also on this tabletop that you have. I tell you, it's free. You got to download it and you got to try it. On the right panel, you have information about the teams. You also have captured video coming from the sailboat, so you can see kind of their point of view. And in the middle, you have the overhead shot of the boats that they shot while they were, doing the race, with all of them having augmented reality to explain what to tag basically which boat is which. And then you have this flat top table in front of you that you can't really see in the image they have, but it's got the boats on a flat top table, like some of the flight landing apps that we've seen. It's got the boats and they're moving through the experience. And then on the left panel, you've got the rankings, you've got information on it, attracting A-listings. So some of these are the Sail GP has exploded as one of the world's fastest growing sports properties, attracting A-list ownership from Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman, the Australian team, Anne Hathaway, Red Bull Italy, and Kylian Mbappé, the France team. So it is cool. I cannot tell you how cool this is in terms of getting to watch and experience the race. And it took me a while because they apparently have a iOS app, and every time I tried to search for the Vision Pro app, I couldn't find it. And I don't know how I finally found it about 10 minutes before showtime, but I will have the link to the app store that will take you. Simply, if you have your Vision Pro on, just go in and put Sale GP and search for it, and you'll get to the app in the Vision Pro. That's how I found it and first got it. But some really cool stuff.
That looks really neat.
Yeah, and I'm not an F1 fan, and I'm not a sailing fan, but the use of this technology has gotten me really interested in it.
Yeah, I want to really play with that.
Okay. So I think that's all we have for tonight. Want to remind you about MacStock Conference and Expo. We will have the link to the digital pass in the show notes. So you missed MacStock. We miss you there. We want you to be there. But if you can't be there, pick up a digital pass. You'll get 3 days of presentations and training, exceptional stuff. And take a look at it. It's a great price. You can find out about it at macstockconferenceandexpo.com or just macstockconference.com. Vision Pro Notes, we will send you Vision Pro Notes throughout the week, generally Monday mornings, also Wednesday mornings and Friday mornings, to prepare you for the upcoming show for the next week and to kind of get out the news stuff that we find right away, so you can join us on the Monday night show. Or again, you can join us here live, or you can pick up the stream on YouTube under Vision Profiles, or also you can get the podcast and just do the audio. Both of those will have the links to the show and the apps that we talk about and the websites that we talk about in the articles. So you can always trace those back if you want to take a look at them. Where can we find you? Yeah, Eric, you got something. Your hands up.
Yeah, just one thing I forgot I was going to ask, and that is, have either one of you tried the new alien environment in the Disney app? It's supposed to be really cool. Like you're watching a film and there's an alien scrolling around above you or something. So maybe in a future show, but
I will. Yeah, I'll lay the challenge down. Maybe we should look at it for next week. Okay. There have been some storylines, some things that I think they have just beaten the story to death, and Alien is one of them. How much can you extend that universe? And there are a lot of universes like that. So I think it's cool that Disney's doing this. There certainly have been a lot of promos on it that I've seen to attract people to looking at it. I'll jump in and look at the environment, and we can talk about. But the idea of, face suckers just don't. Okay, I get it. Ridley Scott got it right back years ago, and I was scared at that point. And chest bursters, or whatever you want to call them. So, haven't looked at it. We'll do that next time. So, Eric, where can we find you?
I can be found on Mastodon at eabolden@mas.to. Otherwise, here on Monday nights and other shows throughout the week. Where's my list? Mac Voices on Tuesdays, In Touch with iOS on Thursdays. Yeah, it's just been one of those weeks. I don't know where I am anymore.
And Dave, maybe you can tell Eric where he's been and where he's going, but also let us know where we can find you.
Yeah. Thanks as always, Marty. You can find me at In Touch with iOS, intouchwithios.com, YouTube channel, youtube.com/intouchwithios. I'm here on Mondays, Tuesdays, Mac Voices Live. We record the show for In Touch with iOS on Thursdays, sometimes on the Mac Show on the British Tech Network on Fridays. And you can find me on Mastodon, Blue Sky, at DaveG65.
But thanks to the chat room, we had Brian in there, Colin in there, Chuck from Mac Voices TV was in there, Steven Sims. Thanks for joining us and contributing to the conversation. And you can do the same any Monday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time at youtube.com/@visionprofiles is the link to be able to join the chat and check the live stream out. You can find me here on Monday nights with Eric and Dave and Daniel when he can join us, and Tuesday nights with Chuck on Mac Voices at 8 p.m. also on YouTube. Thursdays with Dave on YouTube also at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And then occasionally on the British Tech Network on Friday mornings with the Mac Show. And then for the other stuff I do, the other podcasts I'm involved in, look at the podtalk.net is the website that has the connections for those. And I hope you'll join us on some of those podcasts too. Thanks for tuning in. We'd love to hear from our listeners. If you have ideas or want to join an episode, email us at visionprofilespodcast@gmail.com, or better yet, the podtalknetwork@gmail.com. Our bumper music is Free Jazzy from Steve Combs, courtesy of the Free Music Archive. Learn more about us and the Vision Profile podcast at our website, thepodtalk.net. Spread the word to other visionaries. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.